Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with me again today. Today, I want to talk about validation. So, the definition of validation is recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile. So, I want you to think about, do you subconsciously look for validation from others? Like, do you find yourself always looking for others' approval by the things that you post or always trying to gain attention in some way, shape, or form? Or do you feel sad if you don't get the attention that you're looking to get from others? Have you compromised your faith or your values so that you can feel accepted? Seeking validation or approval from others comes from a sense of not feeling worthy. And this unworthiness can stem back to when you were a child. You know, if you ever felt like you weren't important in your family's life, or if maybe you had a sibling that always got recognition and validation and you were always put down, right? And so a lot of times we don't see that what we're looking for is validation. I remember years ago that sometimes I did things just because I wanted to be part of the group. Sometimes I would compromise my own values and my own faith and what I stood in because I just wanted to feel included. Like, who doesn't want to feel part of the crew, right? Who doesn't want to feel like they're worth something? And unfortunately, this feeling of needing or seeking validation comes from a place of lack, a lack in self-confidence, a lack of self-love, and a lack of self-worth. So that's why it's so important that if you find yourself doing things like maybe you're posting things on social media, whether it's a photo or something that you post and you're just looking for attention, or you're trying to see like, oh, nobody liked it, nobody shared it, or sometimes people do wild things like, whether it's jumping from a tall building. I mean, sometimes they do different challenges, whether it's um, the different challenges like the cinnamon, like drinking cinnamon or whatever it might be. These are all different forms of validation. And so I want you to think, do you do things looking for validation? And I want you to think about why? Maybe subconsciously you didn't know. Maybe just now listening to this podcast, you're like, wow, like I do look for validation. I do want to feel important because that is one of the needs of human beings. We want to feel important. We want to feel like we're part of something, but we should never do it at the expense of who we are. So I challenge you, spend more time with yourself, spend more time validating yourself instead of expecting other people to validate you. It's the same thing with self-love. Before we want or expect for others to love us, we have to love ourselves. We have to be okay with who we are. And so I'm going to share a few things that are going to help you to be able to stop seeking validation out of yourself. So number one is knowing whose you are. I think that's like one of the most important things. Knowing that God loves you. He created you uniquely, right? And knowing that you don't need anyone else's approval, but just knowing that he loves you for who you are. Just sitting in that space and accepting that, right? The second thing is just really like looking to heal those wounds of emptiness and loneliness. Instead of grasping for others' approval and others' validation, start showing up for yourself. Like if you say that you're going to do something for yourself, like let's say tomorrow you say, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to exercise, I'm going to journal, I'm going to meditate, and actually doing it. Because the more that you show up for yourself, the more you're going to trust yourself. And the more that you trust yourself, the more confident you're going to become. And the more valid you're going to feel, right? And so another way to give yourself your own validation is just speaking to yourself. Like, you know what? Even if no one else noticed that I accomplished this, no one else has to know this. I don't have to shout it at the top of a rooftop to let everybody know what I accomplished. There's things that are just for you. Everybody doesn't need to know every move you make. Just give yourself a pat in the back, Be proud of yourself. Like, spending more time with yourself and pouring into yourself and talking to yourself, like that self-talk is amazing. Like, I talk to myself all the time. I'll be like, Becky, like, what are you thinking? You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be eating that, right? Or if I feel a certain way, asking me, okay, why am I feeling uneasy right now? Okay. Maybe it's because I didn't make the time to meditate today. So I have to make that time later on in the day. Maybe I need to go for a walk. Maybe I'm doing too much and I need fresh air. It's just really spending time with yourself and getting to know yourself and loving yourself and getting to know who you are. Because when you don't know who you are, you're going to seek everybody else's stamp of approval. I'm going to do a crazy video jumping out of a window. Let me see. I'm going to post it. Let me see how many people like or comment or share, aka validation. But when you do things from a space of, you know what? I enjoy singing and I'm going to record it and I'm going to post it. But you know what? Even if no one likes or comments or shares my post, I like it. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And the more you do things that you enjoy, not because you're trying to impress other people, because you actually enjoy doing it, because it makes you feel good, because it is who you are. And you're showing up for the world the same way that you are in private. You're showing up for the world in public. It's hard to keep a persona. It's hard to keep a character. Like, you got to remember all these things. It's like an actor, right? If you're not who you are in private versus who you are on social media versus who you are in public, that's confusing. I don't know about you, but I don't have the energy for it, right? And then you're going to end up feeling more lost, more lonely. Then you're going to start grasping for more, and then it just starts becoming a vicious cycle, right? So I challenge you, start looking inside of yourself. Start loving on yourself. Start being proud for yourself. Start doing things because they make you feel good, but not because they're going to make you look good. All right. I'll say that again. Start doing things because they actually make you feel good, not because it's going to make you look good. Because if you're doing things because they make you look good, but at the end of the day, you don't feel good about yourself because you did that, then you're doing the wrong thing. You're grasping for something outside of yourself. You're seeking approval. You're seeking validation. You're looking to fit in. Stop compromising your values and your morals. It's not worth it in the end. Because the reality is that we all struggle with things. We all have things that, we're probably not too sure of. Everybody has flaws. Nobody is perfect. Even if they try to act like they have it all together, they don't. I promise you that. It makes me think of when you look like at actors, they made everybody else smile. Or comedians. Robin Williams, he passed away a few years ago. And he was a comedian. He made everybody laugh, but internally he was struggling, right? And we see these things that happen with a lot of people. They're struggling. They look on the outside like they're happy and they're showing up in the world and they're doing things, but inside they still feel empty and sad. And unfortunately, they end up taking their lives because it's hard to fake the funk, Like, the next time if somebody asks you, how are you doing? Oh, girl, I'm good. Life is good. I'm blessed. I'm too blessed to be stressed. but inside you feel like you're dying. You don't have to pretend like everything's fine. I'm not saying that you got to tell everybody what you're going through, but just be honest. You know what, girl? It was hard today, you know? And if it's somebody that you don't feel like you can open up to, you don't have to. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't have to pretend to have it all together. Because like I said, everybody's struggling with something. Nobody's life is perfect. So you're looking for validation from other people who don't have the authority to give you the stamp of approval. You're already approved. You're already loved. You're already valid. You're already uniquely made. So start showing up as yourself in the world. Start doing things that fill your heart with joy, even if nobody else thinks that it's cool. If you want to play the harmonica, play the harmonica. You know what I mean? If you want to, if you're into just certain different things that maybe you think people will think that you're weird for liking, like that's what you like, like the more that you do of what you love, as long as you're not hurting anyone or you're doing things that are illegal, or to cause anybody else harm. If you like something, enjoy it, share it, right? Stop being afraid that people aren't going to accept you into their circle. Like, I've never liked cliques. I've never liked cliques. I will never want to be part of a clique because it's just not my thing. Like, why do I have to work so hard for you to approve me? For me to feel like I'm something because you say so? When we're all flesh and we're all blood and we were all created by the same creator and he values us all the same. He loves us all the same. So start showing up for yourself. Start validating yourself because your ticket has already been stamped by the one above, by the only one who can. All right. Thank you so much for listening. If this was helpful for you, please share it on your social media and tag me, Inspire Her Mindset, and also on Facebook, Rebecca Fillmore. And let me know if this was helpful. Please leave a star rating so that the podcast platforms can share with other people. And I thank you so much for being here today. God bless.